Christopher Nolan most definitely received the call to make crap on purpose to show solidarity with the Hollywood cult, aka Petalwood, because his latest casting move for the Odyssey, which is a Greek mythology, is obviously a way to show that yes, he is in solidarity and will give the middle finger to this idea of just two genders, which, the second administration of Trump has made it clear that's the reality. But to spit in the face of that, he's decided to cast Ellen Page, who calls herself Elliot Page. And you know what? This makes me think. This is probably why Quentin Tarantino is delaying making his final movie. Because even though we know he's down with the Hollywood cult as well, he probably still has an ounce of integrity remaining to where he rather not make a purposely bad movie than, you know, have his final movie to retire on. Because again, it will have to be purposely bad. And quite frankly, when Christopher Nolan cast Denzel Washington's bad acting son in Tenet, I mean, that was already a nod that he was going down this path. And then when you look at the other people that's been cast in this, Charlize Theron, the woman who adopted two South African boys and turned them into girls, John Leguizamo, one of the more blatant anti-white racist comedian actors, and then you have Tom Holland, the soy boy who recently got his cheeks sprayed open in the movie because he played a homosexual and did a Romeo and Juliet play where he had Juliet played by some very ugly ape-looking black chick, and then of course Zendaya is also cast in this. Essentially, the man in his household. And you also have Matt Damon, Lupita Nyong'o, among others. Yeah, obviously this is going to be trash. I mean, they also cast a Patel in this movie. But yeah, I mean, this is what is expected. Let's say he's actually against making this movie this way. He knows that if he doesn't continue to show solidarity, it's not just enough to cast Denzel Washington's bad acting son in Tenet. No, now you have to make an entire cast and include a mentally ill person pretending to be a male as a part of that cast to show solidarity. It's similar to the Denzel Washington thing. He made it to almost 70 years old before he really did anything blatantly homo or typical Hollywood, and they got him. And they got him because, again, if you want to retain your reputation, not be viewed as a bad guy in their eyes, and if you actually care about that stuff, then you have to play the game, whether it's the LGBTQ game, the racial idolatry game, the female worship game, one of the three. Now, again, this doesn't downplay his career as a director, but it's just a constant reminder that these Hollywood scumbags will always be anti-American commie degenerates that they are. And it goes back to my previous video of me saying this is why I don't want anything Trump tries to do to help Hollywood work. I'd rather not have the American public tax dollar go to anything trying to revitalize Hollywood. Because if that's the case, you might as well give your money to the CCP. Because that's what these people are. They're communists in America. And they've always been anti American since the beginning. This industry deserves to die. And I really just get annoyed with so-called conservatives who seem to be incapable of divorcing themselves from being consumers towards people that openly hate them and want them replaced, especially if they're a so-called white conservative. You know, and again, when I'm talking Hollywood, I'm talking movies, television, music, mainstream, obviously, sports ball, mainstream video games, theme parks, and merchandise items. I've been able to divorce myself from it a little over 10 years now. Sure, others should be able to, especially when you represent the demographic that they specifically target. Like if you're a heterosexual white male that's not liberal, I mean, you should be the easiest. It should be the easiest for you to divorce, but it seems they have the toughest time, especially divorcing themselves from stupid sports ball. I mean, I've seen some threads where you have these cuck servitards talking about how, oh, well, you don't want us to enjoy nothing. We got nothing without Hollywood. It's pathetic, especially when you think most of the stuff that you would want to consume from them, especially when it comes to media, you can get it for free on the internet, thanks to piracy. But again, to go back to the Quentin Tarantino factor, I think things like this is probably why he is willing to delay doing his final movie. Because again, let's say Quentin Tarantino refuses and makes the movie that he typically makes and cast it the way he wants it to be cast. If he does that, guess what? All those stories about him being a creep, feet worshiper, which was seen as, which would currently is just look at, oh, that's Quentin being Quentin, ha ha. All of a sudden, those stories will turn into Me Too stories. Just like with Harvey Weinstein, that's how that thing goes. It was something to laugh at. It was something that was thought was cute. But then once they decide to target you, it's no longer cute. You know. But anyway, it'll be another movie that I'll miss gladly. It's probably going to be on Francis Ford Coppola level of trash, like Megalopolis, a notable director that makes trash to adhere to an agenda. And again, this is why Hollywood, as an industry, needs to go away. And it can only do that if people start voting with their wallets, specifically so called Republicans, conservatives, and especially Trump supporters.